You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.
This is Rod Mahood, your in-game voice of the Niagara IceDogs, and you're listening to the Dog Pound Podcast on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your podcast source for all game analysis, team interviews, and up-to-date news regarding the Niagara IceDogs.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first episode of 2023 for the official podcast at your Niagara IceDogs, the Dog Pound Podcast, right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Guys, if you're enjoying the content, please make sure go over to Twitter and like us at Dog Pound Podcast. Follow us over there for all of our IceDog updates. You can like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Make sure, if you're enjoying the video version of the podcast, you hit that like, smash that bell icon, smash that like for all updates on videos that get released on our YouTube channel. So go head over there, give us some love on the video version of the podcast. And if you're enjoying it in audio form, thank you very much. On whatever platform you're listening to us right now, probably Spotify. Kyle, what ones would you say are the most popular in 2023?
Oh, Audio Podcast Net. It's that great app. I don't even know if that's an app. I don't know. Spotify or Apple Podcast seems to be the go-to nowadays.
Yes.
One of those ones.
Sure. And then you can also follow me at bcaputo_AGM and my co-host Kyle at justkyle51. Kyle, back with the first episode of 2023. There's going to be a lot of changes in the next couple of weeks here, but this might be the last time you see this setup for myself. Currently in the process of moving, so there's going to be big changes coming to the network, big changes coming to my backdrop, and we'll get into that later on. But for the first installment of the Dog Pound Podcast for 2023, the DPP, the official podcast of the Niagara IceDogs, we are here for you in our normal form. We're in POG form.
DPP.
We're in POG form.
Nice.
Yeah. But
you forgot to mention something in the intro. You were like, I'm sitting there thinking, you mentioned the Twitter, and I'm like, this would be a perfect spot to be like, we're also the official Twitter of the IceDogs as of this moment, because the official Twitter account is still in Elon Musk jail, I guess. Or
your buddy, Elon Musk.
Twitter. Yeah, my buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, so
like I drive a Tesla, and I'm just tooting this guy's horn every day.
So for anybody that does not know, the IceDogs official Twitter account is currently, due to a verification issue, it is basically on hiatus. So they're trying to work through to get it back. They're on the last step. And again, it's just Twitter's processing of how to get the accounts back. It has nothing to do with the IceDogs themselves. They didn't delete it. They didn't just stop tweeting on purpose. So for all of the IceDogs updates until their official Twitter account is back up and running, make sure you're checking us out at Dog Pound Podcast for all of our game updates and all updates regarding the IceDogs. We're posting stuff that they have on Facebook and Instagram.
Even if we're not
as well.
the official, like we post as much as we can for you guys. So even if you're not just following us because we're the official account for now, follow us anyways.
Exactly. Stay with us.
We'll keep you guys updated on everything that happens with this team. And the way it's going, something's going to happen every day with this team. So.
A lot going on, including shout out to former IceDog defenseman Elijah Roberts on the birth of his daughter. Yeah. So congratulations to him. So all updates, not just game updates, will be for you at Dog Pound Podcast, guys. And also, on the NiagaraIceDogs.net website, go under the media tab. We've got our page right there, and you can check out all of our stuff, and all of our links to all of our platforms are there. And then also, I'm doing the game recap for the website now for the IceDogs, so check that out as well. So, Kyle, jam-packed show today for the listeners. We've got Ryan Kuwabara post-game audio. We've also got his thoughts leading into the week. We've got our spotlight interview with Kevin He, so the standout rookie Kevin He, first time on the show for him. So it'll be really cool to get to know Kevin a little bit and how he's enjoying his rookie season so far. And we've also got This Week in IceDogs History, returning with the radio voice of the Niagara IceDogs, Ted Lehman, on Country 89. So, Kyle, with that said, before we get into the games themselves, I did talk to Ryan Kuwabara pregame before the week started about his thoughts coming out of the Christmas break. So let's get to that first. Here's the Niagara IceDogs head coach, Ryan Kuwabara, and his thoughts after the Christmas break. Here with IceDogs head coach Ryan Kuwabara, coming off the Christmas break. Coach, get a couple new guys in the lineup. Obviously, the game against Sudbury was postponed. So, what excites you about bringing in Michael Podolou and Zachary Lavoie in two separate trades coming into this lineup? And what do you think that their roles are going to be, and what do you think their impact's going to be?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a little bit of feeling out process, right? I'm not sure really what we have yet. I know Lavi's a high-end scorer, can put the puck in the net, so obviously we're going to expect him to do that. And Potty there, he's a big body that, can shoot the puck, moves really well, and, we're excited to find out maybe, where he can fit up or down the lineup just to give us some depth there.
And coming off the Christmas break, have you had a lot of time to, have some practices with the guys and get them reset? Kind of feels like they're starting up the second half of the year here. And what has been the message to them as you're trying to come out of the Christmas break and come out with some positive results here?
Yeah, definitely. I think for us, it's a brand new season for us. I'm new, so when I came in December, there was just kind of just let it play out. Let's see what we have. Let's work really hard. But we had one practice under our belt coming back into today's game, so we're just gonna be excited to play out there, work hard, and try to dominate the offensive zone if we can.
And got Rodwin Denisio away at the World Juniors for Team Switzerland, scored that big goal. What is it like to kind of see Roddy just kind of continuing to elevate his game, being away at a tournament that's got a lot of eyes on it, and trying to make a name for himself?
Yeah, definitely. When you do well there, usually it leads to something, right? Something good usually happens because there's so many scouts there watching, and for him, just do what he does. He's great at doing that. He does it well for us, and to see him have success at that level is really encouraging for when he comes back.
Yeah, I was going to say hopefully transitions back to this team when he does come back. And lastly, Andrew Wysick's finally back in the lineup. He's been out for a long period of time, missed the majority of the season, had a great training camp coming in. What have you liked from him, kind of seeing what Andrew's game is going to be and having him back in the lineup? What do you think his impact will be?
Yeah, I like him a lot. He's a kid that brings a lot of energy out there, and his details are pretty good. So for him to come back, and this is going to be his first game right after Christmas, maybe a little Christmas present for him. But I expect him just to keep it simple and try to move the puck as quick as possible, but try to limit mistakes.
Kyle, head coach Ryan Kuwabara. Quick thoughts there pregame, getting Andrew Wysick back in the lineup. The two new guys, which we'll talk about, Lavoie and Podolou, getting into the lineup and kind of having that reset after Christmas.
Yeah, I think the one big thing we can take away from this is that it's not even what he said, it's how he's saying it and the presence that he's coming across as, and it's calm. You know what I mean? Like the way the IceDogs are performing as of late since him coming in, he knows what the team was like coming into that situation and what happened so far. He's got that calm presence, which I really like, in that, it's not time to sound the alarms and go crazy or kind of just give up. He kind of just, it's almost like a feeling out calmness that he's got about him. And obviously, he talks about the two new additions to the team, Lavoie being a very much looking like a great goal scorer of the future, and saying his thoughts on Wysick too. I mean, he didn't really have a chance to see what he did in training camp, but from what I guess he's gotten, obviously from knowledge, from management on the team, and what he's obviously seen this week, and probably in practice as well, he can see that Wysick is a promising young defenseman for this team. I think the biggest thing for me was just how calm he was and how he was coming across as while talking about, while the team is in its current state, which, it's not, we can't paint a fake picture here. We're in last place. We're the last place team in the OHL. It's been a rough season. It's tough to watch, especially I know as you fans of that are listening, it is tough to watch the IceDogs and what's going on this year. But I guess you can be a little bit more happy to know and rest assured that this coach is not panicking this early into his coaching regime, and you can see that he really has that knowledge of, he's been here before and he knows how to He knows how to kind of take it. He knows what he probably needs to do when your team's in a situation like this. So that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, navigating the waters through a long OHL season. It's not easy, but it's good that that head coach Kuwabara has a plan for this team moving forward, and still again more moves coming, even since he's been there. So it's been an adjustment period for everybody, getting used to a lot of new players. So let's get into that first, because we haven't had an episode in about 3 weeks here. So we actually, a couple days after recording, we had just made a couple of trades. So Brendan Sirizotti leaves the Niagara Ice Dogs and goes to the Sioux Greyhounds for a 3rd and an 8th round pick. Before we talk about the guys that they received, Kyle, Brendan Sirizotti came over from the Ottawa 67s last year in a trade. Again, showed flashes that he could be a very solid offensive player, but just the consistency maybe wasn't there. And we even talked to him about that. And after he had a big game earlier this year, getting the first star, it just seemed like just too many ups and downs, peaks and valleys for Brendan Sirizotti. When he was on his game, he was definitely a top 6 forward or even a top line forward in this league, but some nights you could see that he just didn't have his A game.
Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why, the Ice Dogs did what they did. I mean, we saw, again, we're not going to sit here and paint fake pictures here. Brendan Sirizotti, his issue was his consistency. That was his biggest thing in his game. Great player on the ice, had great vision, just couldn't hold it down together consistency-wise. Like, he'd have one good game and then a few rough games and then one good game again. And it's not with the way the team is and the way the team has been going and what they're trying to strive for. It's tough to be on a team when they're kind of looking for more out of you.
Especially as a veteran.
Yeah, so I understand the trade. And look, we got a 3rd and an 8th out of it, which I know the 3rd is like a few years from now, but I think a lot of people forget, though, like we're also restocking. I know we've also have to restock shelves for the next couple of years. Obviously, this 3rd round pick is later down the line, but we are still missing picks from, I think it's this year and next year, from the Jason Robertson trade that Joey Burke made years and years ago from when Jason was on the team. So it's always nice to restock picks. Again, 2nd and 3rd round picks are viewed as higher in the OHL because teams can't really trade their 1st round pick. So it is what it is. And you when you acquire these picks, you're kind of acquiring the asset of bulking these picks for a bigger trade down the line. Like, what if next year, like, we're looking for a goal run and we're looking to pick up a big player? We have that plethora of picks that we've picked up from other trades to use as assets in trades. So I know a lot of people go nuts when OHL trades happen, and a lot of people don't really necessarily understand the way the OHL works. It's not like the NHL. But as for Sirizotti, going back here to him, that was his biggest issue, right? It was the consistency. And, it's a shame because he was a great player, a great person off the ice. We talked to him a few times, had a good head on his shoulders. He just, he's got to work on that consistency. That's probably the biggest thing he's got to work on in his game.
Yeah, and he goes to a Sioux team. We'll see how he performs with them. But again, let's also preface this, Kyle, because this was misconstrued in our last episode. Yes, teams make trades, okay? But I know we understand that nobody has made the amount of trades that the Ice Dogs have made this year. Let's start there. We're not sitting here trying to say that this happens. Obviously, this is unprecedented for the amount of moves that have happened with GM Darren DeDobler coming in and just learning the style of this league, and that's what he's been trying to do. And that's basically what we've seen here with the moves that he's made. And again, trades happen, but we haven't seen this many trades happen in the OHL. But it is what it is.
It was worded a little bit differently. I'm sorry about that. For anyone criticizing me, I'm sorry that it was worded that way. But I understand that, yes, this was a lot of trades. And it's been a lot of trades that he's done this year. I was more leaning the fact that people act like the Ice Dogs are the only ones making trades is what I was trying to kind of come across as, and which is completely wrong. You shouldn't criticize a team acting like they're the only ones making trades.
Right.
Every day I log into Twitter, there's an OHL trade, and it was like that 2 months ago. So that's where I was more kind of leaning on. But yes, I do agree with the people that are a little bit frustrated that there's been a ton of trades because there's been a very, very much plethora of trades this year, the most out of, I think, of any I've seen in IceDogs history in 1 year. Don't know what the history facts on that. Maybe we'll have to ask our buddy Teddy on that fact. But yeah, it's been a lot.
It has been a lot. But with that said, I'm trying to get my camera to work here. Trying to get
Are you gonna be Joe Quimby again?
I hope not. No, I'm not gonna be Diamond Joe Quimby.
that was a good picture.
It was. But
you picked a great one.
As I try to get my camera fixed here, Kyle, and again, it's working right now. And again, when you're recording in video, things happen, guys. So bear with us. But so I'm trying to think what we should talk about. We'll just talk about the games. I mean, we were in Hamilton. Shoutouts to the guys over at the Hammertown podcast, Colin and Reese. Hamilton won, but in my opinion, Niagara played a very good game and could have easily came away with the 2 points. Late penalty. Was questionable, and Hamilton ends up getting the empty netter. But a solid effort for the Ice if you're the IceDogs, especially with how things have gone lately against the Hamilton Bulldogs to almost beat them was right there for the taking on the road.
Yeah, the Hamilton game was actually a really, really good game by the IceDogs. It was Zachary Lavoie's debut, which he had one incredible debut, not only scoring 8 seconds into the second period, but getting a 2-goal performance, almost getting a hat trick too, in his first game as an IceDog, which would have been hilarious because Zach Lavoie in the IceDogs' first game of the year scored a hat trick against them when he was with Mississauga, which would have been a really nice, which was really a really funny coincidence. But I thought the IceDogs played a very, very good game against the Bulldogs, better than the last game against the Bulldogs, that's for sure. And they could have came out with at least a tie in this game. Obviously, what happened in the end there with that unfortunate penalty, I think it was a tough penalty. I hate blaming games on the refs, but that was a little bit of a weak call, especially from what was being let go throughout the game. But it is what it is. It kind of and it took the kind of the sails off the boat of the IceDogs, who were kind of, it was 3-2 at that point, and they're cruising on trying to make a comeback here. So it was a rough penalty, but it is what it is. The Bulldogs got an empty net by your boy Ryan Humphrey, who's coincidentally as well not on the Bulldogs anymore, who was just traded a few days ago. So you'll never have to see him again because he's been traded to London, and we don't play London anymore. So there's that. But I thought the IceDogs played a really, really good game against the Bulldogs. And yeah, it was unfortunate 4-2 loss, which technically empty nets. I hate counting empty nets, so technically I count as a 3-2 loss. But I thought the IceDogs played a very, very good game. And Lavoie, what a debut in his first game. Unbelievable. Especially his first goal, which we missed, hilariously enough. We were in the concourse and had to get back up to the press box, which is a hike and a half in Hamilton. So we actually missed Lavoie's first goal, but going back in the replay, it was very nice. This guy looks like he's going to be a nice goal scorer for the IceDogs and a very, very great acquisition by Darren Dobler.
Quickest goal to start a period in IceDogs history by Zachary Lavoie, 8 seconds, previously beating out the co-record holders previous to him with Kirill Maximov and Daniil Gushin were tied at 10 seconds for the quickest goal to start a period. So Zachary Lavoie now has eclipsed that in his first game as a Niagara IceDog. And then also picking up Michael Podolou as well, which we also talked about in the last episode there. But going into Friday night against Erie, Kyle, that was one that the IceDogs let get away. They got off to a quick 3-0 start. 3-1, Erie gets a late goal at the end of the first period, and who would have thought that would have been the turning point in the game, because Erie storms back, scores 2 more, and then wins it in overtime.
Yeah, that one hurt. Out of the 3 games, that one hurt the most because the IceDogs literally let that go because they were all over Erie for the entire first and second period. Yeah, Erie got a goal late. There was a power play goal at the end of the first. Sure, whatever. But the IceDogs completely dominated Erie in the first and second period, regardless of like that, the shots in the second as well. They completely killed them, and it's the third period. It was this kind of reverted back to an earlier issue that this Ice Dog team had earlier in the season, which was not playing a full 60 minutes. And it was evident here in this game. They only played 40 minutes because that third period, they fell asleep. They packed it in. They went home. It was, I don't even know what happened in that third period. They got outshot 17-9. They let Erie come back. They scored early enough in the third period, and it was a tie game for the rest of the third. They played it. The second half of the third was all right. There was a lot of chances where I thought they were going to win the game before at the end of regulation, even in overtime. But the IceDogs, again, it was not only the playing this full 60, the open ice has really shown to be a weakness for this team all year. And anytime there was an open ice situation in a game 4-on-4 or even overtime 3-on-3, the IceDogs just don't look like they've kind of nailed that. I don't know if they've even won an overtime game this year, but it really showed. It was a horrible end of the shift. Both players backed up towards the net, and they screened Owen Flores, who had an exceptional game. Owen Flores had an unreal game, stopping, was it like 41 of 46 shots or whatever, 42 of 46 shots. He had an incredible game against the Erie Otters. So that was nothing on his shoulders. It was just the team in front of him just kind of, let up the gas and let Erie come back.
Yeah. And again, Juan Copeland unfortunately takes the 2-minute penalties and then gets called for the 10-minute misconduct. So that, hurt the IceDogs as well. But again, it just seems like whenever Erie and Niagara get together, it's always like a very, very chippy game. Doesn't matter like where they are in the standings. Maybe it's like geographical because Erie's technically like the closest team to Niagara. But it just seems like these teams always have, some bad blood regardless of what year it is. And there's always after the whistle extracurricular activity and things like that. So that game was no different, and neither was the New Year's Eve game.
It's weird with Erie because they're in the other conference, and I thought we only played other conference teams twice, but we play Erie like 5 or 6 times this year.
Erie's the only team we get to play more than twice against.
Crazy.
When it comes to the Western Conference, it's a weird way that they put that schedule out, but
it's also weird that there's American teams in the Ontario Hockey League, but that is what that is. Same with, I guess, the WHL, but at least that's called the Western Hockey League. We can get away with that. Ontario Hockey League makes 0 sense that there are teams in the States.
And then the New Year's Eve game, wrapping it up, IceDogs end up coming away with the win. Anthony Agustinelli scores the quickest hat trick in IceDogs history, 7 minutes and 18 seconds. Just a great comeback performance. The IceDogs came back against Erie just like Erie came back on them the night before. It was a great performance. Josh Rosenzweig stood tall in the net. An unfortunate hit late in the game on the leading scorer for the IceDogs, leading scorer for the Erie Otters, Brett Brissett, taking a open ice hit, and some people would say that it was, an illegal hit. We're still waiting to see if Zachary Lavoie at the time of recording is going to receive a suspension for this hit, but it was a scary scene in the final minute. Brissett was stretchered off after many moments being down on the ice. Lavoie was kicked out, and Brissett later on ended up getting successful surgery for a broken collarbone. So it is what it is. Again, these two teams were very chippy again on New Year's Eve, but the IceDogs do come away with the 2 points and end up with 3 out of 6 on the weekend.
Yep. Congrats for Anthony getting that quickest hat trick in IceDogs history with those 3 goals. 2 of the goals came 30 seconds apart too as well. But regardless of what happened at the end, the IceDogs showed great resiliency in this game. Going down halfway through the second period 2-1 and battling back for a 5-2 or 5-3 victory is a hell of an effort, especially on New Year's Eve, the last game before the new year. And what better way to close out the year with a win, right? That's something that they really needed. And now it helped with the 3 games because now they got a possible 3 out of 6 points, which is, I think, I think we briefly talked about before the Christmas break that we kind of wanted them to get at least 3 out of 6 points, if I'm remembering correctly. So,
yeah,
you know what? I'm happy with that. So, big win for the Ice Dogs in that third game, and sending our prayers out to Brissett on a speedy recovery after his surgery. Regardless of how the hit was made or what people think of the hit, it's not great seeing a player go down like that and having surgery the way that is. It's unfortunate. So hopefully he has a speedy recovery and we'll see him back in the OHL soon enough.
Yeah, and the Ice Dogs end up making a trade with Erie, which we'll get into in the second segment. But before we wrap up the first segment here, let's get the wrap up from the head coach, the Niagara Ice Dogs, Ryan Kuwabara, from the 3-game week here. On the post game with head coach of the Niagara Ice Dogs, Ryan Kuwabara. Following the 3-game week, coach, the week progressively got better. You went from 0 points on Wednesday, you got a point last night, and then you pick up 2 points tonight. So you pick up 3 out of 6. Just talk about the weekend in general. I know Hamilton, maybe you expected a better result, and then last night against Erie, you had the lead 3-0. Erie bounces back, but then you kind of poetic justice get 4 straight on them tonight and come back. So just sum up the weekend as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? I think our group is growing. It's going to take some losses, some mistakes and stuff for us to get to where we want to go. But I thought the Hamilton game, we had a lot of grade A chances we didn't capitalize on. I think that was the difference in the game there. Their goalie played well in the second there, and ours played well in the first, and then it was up for grabs in the third. Then the last night against Erie there, I thought we started really well, and then we got into some penalty trouble and we lost some mojo, and then we just couldn't find a way to finish it off. But that was my message after the game yesterday, was just tell them that we have to learn from these experiences to have success later on. And I think that paid dividends tonight when we didn't change how we played. We just stuck to the process and we were able to come back and score some big goals.
Just how much emphasis did you put into the result last night wasn't what they wanted, but then being able to battle back and show that they could come out tonight out and beat Erie after what happened last night, and kind of turning the page and using that as motivation to go out there and get the 2 points tonight, because it seemed like both teams really got much acquainted in these 2 games. It seemed like they were really rivals out there. There were scrums after every whistle. So just how big was that for you to tell the guys that things were, just make sure you stay the course and to not let last night bother them too much?
Yeah, and I think that's the growth part of it, right? We work hard in practice, we work hard doing the videos, we work hard in meetings, and that's been our culture a little bit, changing a little bit by bit. We're not gonna be a top team overnight. It takes time to build that, and guys get in their roles and they understand the new systems and stuff like that. But for me, it was a gutsy effort, and I'm glad we were able to pull it off. Just really sorry to see that young man get hurt.
Yeah, damper on that at the end of the game. Is there really anything that you can say at that point on the bench, or are you really all just kind of trying to regroup, because there's still time left and Erie's going to get a 5-minute power play on that, and the game's still in hand? So is there something that you really use as a game plan to tell the guys during a situation like that, because it can be traumatizing seeing a player down like that?
No, for sure, and that's where you just try to go back to your structure, go back to what we know, and just stay within that. Mentally it's going to be really difficult to go out and try to execute anything, and they're going to be coming, they're going to be buzzing. So it's just just making smart plays and just keeping it really simple.
And a few players before we go here, Coach. Anthony Gustinelli triples the goal output tonight, scores 3 unanswered goals, 2 in less than a minute. Just talk about Gus. He was out there on a penalty kill, blocked a few shots, drew a penalty. It seemed like any situation you put him out in tonight as a veteran, he was there to step up. And then obviously getting the goal production is huge for him as well.
Yeah, he's a great spark plug for our lineup. He works so hard in both ends of the rink. He's a 200-foot player, and for him to have a little bit of success is awesome. I love to see that for our guys, and he plays such a defensive game so well that that's why we trust him out there for those key situations. But just really happy to see him have some success.
And we talked earlier in the week, Andrew Weiss getting back in the lineup. Just how did you think he was during these 3 games? Seemed like he was very calm back there, despite it being really his first week of the season here, and being a stable presence on the defensive side.
Yeah, definitely. He's gonna be a good player, I think, in the future. It's just little things of his details of his game, when realistically, or a few games here now that he's got to learn to play at this level consistently. So it's, little things where you don't get too excited. You let sometimes the play come to you, and you just make smart plays with the puck. So, I was happy to see him, control, get in there, get into plays, and make some good passes.
And then lastly, looking ahead to next week, 3 more games, 2 games on the road in Barrie and North Bay, but first that home game against Ottawa, who is obviously the measuring stick right now in the Ontario Hockey League first place team. Is there anything you really say to the guys, or do you think that they know what the type of challenge they're going up against, and you have to have the mindset that you could beat anybody on any night?
That's it. We just stay the process, right? We can't control what they're going to do. We just control how we play out there and try to create opportunities in the offensive zone and just play within our system, right? Be predictable for us.
Perfect. Ryan Kuwabara, the head coach of the Niagara IceDogs, recapping the 3-game week. Thanks so much for doing this, and we'll talk next week. And in the new year, Happy New Year, and in 2023.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Thanks very much.
Kyle, good stuff there again from the head coach of the IceDogs, Ryan Kuwabara. Again, praising Anthony Agostinelli finally getting that goal output. Gus is a hardworking player. He's been on this team for a long time, but just general thoughts on what Coach had to say about the week.
Yeah, giving praise, much needed praise to Agostinelli, I think is the biggest thing, right? He's been on this team for a while. He's considered at this point one of the oldest vets, I guess you can say, on the team. Has worked his butt off since day one to get to this point, and he deserves. It's true what Coach says. He deserves, that moment to have some success and to have a hat trick, and only the hat trick, the quickest hat trick in IceDogs history. It's good for him, and he's really improved since day one. We've seen him since he's been started here in Niagara, and I think he's really coming to his own. And biggest thing here is what Coach said. He's really improved in his 200-foot game aspect of his skill level, and that's really the big thing for him and what he's good at. He's a very big 200-foot player. He's good in both ends of the ice. So, high praise for Anthony Agostinelli. I think that was the biggest thing, and the most important thing what he talked about as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to take a break on the show today, and we're going to come back. We're going to get our feature interview with IceDogs rookie Kevin He. We'll talk about this week in IceDogs history with Ted Lehman, and we'll talk about the most recent trade from this week and look ahead to the upcoming games this week. So stay right here on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs.
You're listening to the...
Experience a new way to play daily fantasy sports and esports on Thrive Fantasy. Thrive's game concept revolves around player props, which are simple over-unders on player stats. There are contests for traditional sports including the NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, and cricket, as well as esports titles including CSGO, Dota 2, League of Legends, and more coming soon. Here's how to play. Choose your lineup of over-unders for top-tier athletes that have the biggest impact on the game. Each prop has a fantasy point total based on how likely it is to hit. The more points the selection is worth, the riskier it is. Rack up the most points and win a share of the prize pool. Thrive is awarded over $2 million in cash, so come and prop up today.
You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network, the Niagara region's best local source for North American sports podcasting coverage. By sports fans, for sports fans.
Hey, this is Landon Cato, and you're listening to the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of the Niagara IceDogs.
Thank you, Landon, for that great plug as always. Brandon Caputo and Kyle get back with you here, guys. If you're enjoying the video version of the podcast, make sure you're hitting that subscribe, smashing that bell, and smashing like for all updates on the video versions of our podcast and our content to get released on the video version on YouTube. And give us some love on whatever audio platform you're listening to us right now, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you're getting your podcasts at, we're available for you guys on demand. With that said, Kyle, let's start off segment 2 with the return of one of our most requested segments, and that is, as always, This Week in IceDogs History with the radio voice of the Niagara IceDogs. Some interesting birthdays, and with it being the trade deadline, the usual trade deadline week in the Ontario Hockey League, a couple of interesting trades that the IceDogs have made over the years. So here he is, the voice of the IceDogs, Ted Lehman, with This Week in IceDogs History.
Welcome to another edition of This Week in IceDogs History. And as we mentioned last weekend on the broadcast, if you want to have a top-end player, it's not a bad idea, Mom and Dad, to have them early in the new year, because between the 1st of January and the 4th of January, no less than 10, count them 10, past and current IceDogs celebrated birthdays. And again, a belated birthday this past Monday, 2nd day of January, to Valdemar William Hull. He celebrated number 18. This day, the 5th of January, back in 2009, Alex Pietrangelo was part of that gold medal winning World Junior team, that event taking place in Ottawa. Crowds were incredible. It was a lopsided, surprising win in the gold medal game over Sweden. That one probably best known for the heroics of, you got it, Jordan Eberle, who helped the comeback and the shootout win over the Russians in the semifinal. Also, another birthday boy celebrating on the 5th of January. Happy birthday to one of those great IceDogs characters. 27 today, Pride of Michigan, Aaron Hayden. Celebrating a birthday on the 6th of January, maybe the first important acquisition for then General Manager Dave Brown. Before the IceDogs hit the ice in their first season here in St. Catharines, he picked up overage forward centerman Jordan Foreman, and he got him from the London Knights. Jordan Foreman celebrating his 26th birthday today. Some more birthdays to talk about. Well, on the 7th day of the month, Alex Nedeljkovic will have a birthday. He's turning 27. Happy birthday, Anthony Augustinelli, on Saturday as well. He's going to celebrate his 20th birthday, and also celebrating a birthday, 24, former IceDogs goaltender Jake McGrath. Now we get to start talking about some of the trades that have been iconic in IceDogs history. The first one happened on the 8th of January back in 2008. Again, General Manager Dave Brown at the time picked up Sebastian Dam from the Sudbury Wolves, and why not the year before when the Mississauga IceDogs were the powerhouse and the Sudbury Wolves were creeping into the playoffs. It was Sebastian Dam that stoned them right into golf season. Again, in 2008, the IceDogs get Dam. 2010, another amazing deal. It was Ryan Strome coming to the IceDogs from the Barrie Colts, and he would set all kinds of career marks and, of course, help lead the IceDogs to a championship. Birthdays coming up on the 8th of January. Happy birthday, number 19, for forward Aiden Castle, and former IceDog Ethan Sims is celebrating number 21. And another trade before we let you go, 2013. On the 9th of January, again, Marty Williamson would pick up Brendan Perlini from the Barrie Colts. Once again, another one of those iconic deals that helped the IceDogs to some championship seasons. I'm Ted Lehman. That's a look at this day in IceDogs history.
Thank you once again to the voice of the IceDogs, Ted Lehman, on Country 89. Make sure if you guys are able to listen along, go check them out. Country 89 on your radio FM, or you can listen on giantfm.com if you're streaming your radio service. So, Kyle, big trades for the IceDogs, again, with it being trade deadline week. Couple big trades with the Barrie Colts. Perlini, Ryan Strome, which was Strome straight up for Alex Pietrangelo in his overage year. And another Pietrangelo moment was he was a part of that 2009 World Junior team for Canada with that iconic Jordan Eberle goal.
Can you believe it?
Exactly. That was just iconic with us being in the World Junior season, obviously right now. But, yeah, some good history as always from Ted.
Yeah, and Perlini, one of my favorite IceDogs of all time. That was really cool to listen to, and just crazy to like – kind of like see like what trades were dealt back then and like what became of those players, right? Like the big names like the Ryan Stromes, Pietrangelos, even Perlini. Like it's crazy to see like how we acquired them and what were they acquired for back then and what they are now. It's really cool to see that. So Thank you, Teddy, for that history corner. Love it as always.
Yep. Back with a bang in 2023 with this week in IceDogs history. Kyle, let's before we get to Kevin we might as well talk about the trade that happened this week.
Yeah, speaking of trades.
There you go.
Can never stop talking about trades.
No, not right now. But this one's a big one, guys, and again, it's unfortunate because, one of our, favorite players to talk to and cover, but it is what it is. It's part of the business, but former second overall pick and the highest pick ever taken by the Niagara IceDogs, Pano Femus in 2020, has now been dealt to the Erie Otters after playing them in a home-and-home this past weekend for 5 draft picks, including 3 seconds, 1 in 2024, 1 in 2025, and 1 in 2026, a third in 24, and a third in 25. So, Kyle, initial thoughts. Again, really good, value for the Ice Dogs, being able to get 5 picks back. Again, they can, like you mentioned earlier in the show, even though they're in future years, they can still flip those if they decide to, make trades next year. But again, just Pano Femis, another guy that we'll always enjoy and wish him well in Erie.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Pano, we've kind of grown up with him in a sense ever since he was drafted here to Niagara.
That first interview we had with him.
We were his first interview when he was basically a baby at that point. And watched him grow up into, the man he is today and the player he is today. So, it's unfortunate. Pano was a really good guy off the ice, and we really got to know him well. And, I really do wish him well in his future endeavors and hope he does have a very successful hockey career, because he does end up deserving it. Such a great family, too. Shout outs to Chris Femis, who we talked to a few times, and was one of the nicest people we've ever met. So that's unfortunate in that sense. We did get a good return in back for Pano. I think we deserve a good return, especially for the skilled player that he is. Femis, he set an Ice Dogs rookie franchise history with most assists in a single season. So, and that was with 30. So he's done his work for the Ice Dogs, and we thank him for all his service. But getting 3 seconds and 2/3 is a really high value back, and I really, really like this trade. Again, second and third round picks are viewed as higher in the OHL and are ranked higher because of the non-trading of first round picks. So we did get a lot of plethora of picks back, which I was happy with. But again, at the same time, unfortunate we had to see Pano leave. I hope he does have success in Erie, and him going back into the NHL draft this coming season. I really do hope he gets chosen by an NHL team, and he lives his dream of playing on an NHL squad one day.
Yeah, I mean this is part of the business, guys, and you got to put your feelings aside, and it's a good return for Niagara, and you wish Pano and his family all the best. And again, he got a sniff of Leafs development camp in the summertime, so he was motivated coming into this year. But I don't think even he would say that his numbers were what he want them to be right now. And again, it's just one of those things where Niagara could get a lot of value for him, given that he's available to play next year for Erie in his overage year.
It's nothing against Niagara. Like, sometimes a change of scenery, can do wonders for a player, and even the players themselves know this, right? They may want a change of scenery, or maybe the team feels that a change of scenery for the player will do good for his career in the future. Always looking out for their future as well. That's also a thing too. I think some people forget is the team also looks at the best interest in the player, and if he gets traded to another team, maybe a change of scenery will help him out in his draft stock coming up, especially coming up this year, and maybe a change of scenery will do better for his playing right now. So I think that, again, great return, and it is what it is. It happens in the OHL. It's unfortunate, but really much nothing else to say.
Yep.
But wish him well.
And Erie, obviously, with Brissett being out, they needed to get a center to replace him in the top 6. So that's what they do with Pano Femis, and they have the value of him coming back next year, most likely as well. So
Erie is in last place in the other conference, but their conference is a lot more closer together than it is in our conference. Erie is only 4 points out of a playoff spot, so they could essentially still make the playoffs at this point. And getting a help like Pano Femis can really probably do a lot good for them and getting to that spot,
especially losing their leading scorer in Brissett. So they're going to need they're going to need to replace that production somehow, and we'll see Pano when he's back at the Meridian Center in late January. So
January 26th, mark your calendars.
Wish him well, except when he plays Niagara. Wish him well, but actually, I still hope
we can see if we can bug him. Well, see if we run into him.
Oh yeah, we'll bug him. He can't get away from us forever. But I hope he has a good game. But I hope we still win. But with that said, Kyle, really looking forward to our feature interview here with IceDogs rookie Kevin He, his first, real appearance.
Yeah, Kevin.
First real appearance on the Dog Pound podcast. So let's get to that right now. Our discussion pregame in Erie with standout IceDogs rookie Kevin He. Joined now by rookie forward for the Niagara IceDogs, Kevin He. Kevin, pretty good rookie season for you so far. Just how do you feel like you would evaluate how your rookie season has gone so far through the first half?
Yeah, I think it's gone pretty good. I mean, I've adjusted, I think, pretty well to my teammates. I built a lot of relationship with them, and just really the group being so much more tighter coming into the second part of the season.
And what do you think is the biggest adjustment or the biggest thing that you've learned from maybe your first week in the league to now? Is there something that you've really tried to work on, and that it was an adjustment period that you're now kind of learning how to play the Ontario Hockey League game?
Yeah, I think obviously the speed, but I would say probably the mentality part of it. I mean, just becoming a pro, just embodying, what it takes to play at the next level, the way you conduct yourself around the rink, and just things like that.
And the word around the locker room is that you have the best goal celebrations. Just what is it like when you score a goal? You just get really excited, or why are everybody picking you for the best goal celebrations on the team?
Oh yeah, I didn't know they picked me for the best goal celebration, but I think it's really in the moment. Just I'm always pretty excited when I score, and especially scoring during a home game. It's pretty exciting for sure.
There's been a lot of change, a lot of turnover, a lot of players, coaching changes, stuff like that. So how have you guys been able to just kind of, put your head down, do your work, and especially you as a rookie, being able to do your job despite all the things kind of changing around you and trying to just remain in the moment?
Yeah, I think it's just hanging out with the team. I think everyone's, trying to channel out the noise and really focus on the present. So I think that's one thing that we're doing pretty well.
You scored the teddy bear toss goal. I know we talked quickly on the ice there, but what was that moment like, being in your first teddy bear game and having a really big crowd for that, and having a moment like that happen on the ice? Just reflecting on it now after a month or so, just how special was that moment for you?
Yeah, it was pretty special. I mean, it was more special because my family was here. They came down from Toronto, so having them with me was definitely really special, and it was really packed. There was a lot of fans watching, so it was definitely a special moment for me.
Buzz around the team, you're becoming a fan favorite. A lot of heat chants, a lot of people that have been impressed by your play on and off the ice. So how are you trying to just continue to build on that? And do you take a step back to think how flattering it is, or are you trying to just focus on your game at the same time?
Yeah, of course. I think my Bill mom, she tells me everything, so obviously I'm aware of that. But I think just being me, really. Obviously being grounded, being humble. Especially my dad, he always kept me humble and grounded growing up. So I think that's one thing I'm going to take with me moving forward.
Kevin, second half of the year, what are you really trying to build on and take with you there as we continue to go through the season, and something that second half that you're really trying to build on?
Yeah, I think puck possession is one of my main focuses right now. Just having the puck and really not giving it away, and really using it to find my teammates, to really create plays and open up the game for my teammates.
And last one, this is a tough one here. What did you guys do for Christmas? Was there anything that you guys did as a team, and anything you guys are planning on doing during the holidays, for New Year's, or just trying to have that team camaraderie and trying to build your bond on and off the ice?
Yeah, I think we were pretty tight. We were watching one of our fellow teammates, Rodwin, playing in the World Juniors. But other than that, I think I went home during Christmas and I pretty much just trained, just back to my normal self, just get the legs going and prepare myself for the second half of the season.
Was it good to kind of take a week off and kind of refresh, regroup, and then get yourself ready for the second half?
Yeah, definitely spending time with my family is a huge one for me. I haven't seen them in so long, so it's definitely, yeah.
And you mentioned Roddy. Just how cool has that been to kind of see him away at the World Juniors, scored a couple big goals for Switzerland, and he's the only guy away from your team right now at the World Juniors, and getting the publicity at a national stage. Just how cool has that been to see a teammate selling so well over there at the World Juniors right now? Yeah,
he's been absolutely phenomenal. I think we were all watching his games, and he's, like you said, he scored many big goals. I think the whole team is cheering him on, so he's definitely got the support of Niagara down here. But I think we're just enjoying the way he plays the game. We just all absolutely love seeing him play at the World Juniors.
IceDogs rookie Kevin He here on the Dog Pound podcast. Thanks so much for doing this, Kevin, and best of luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Kyle, great thoughts there, and a very well-spoken young man is Kevin He in his rookie year. The guy sounds like a 4-year veteran. Just unbelievable young man.
And I love the part when he says billet mom fills them in on everything. Just that got me like, oh my god, she must be like in his ear like every time, like, oh, you should see what they're saying about you.
And the whole "he is him" thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then the crowd chant is great. I'm glad he's aware of it and he's humble about it. And the one thing I took from him, which I found funny, is like to adjust to the OHL speed. I'm like, you're a rocket on skates there.
Yeah,
you didn't have to adjust at all. You were perfectly fine for the speed of the OHL. But he's just a great outspoken kid and or well-spoken individual, especially for his first year in the OHL, sounding like a 4-year vet, but which is also a good thing. You know, if he's showing this type of maturity now in his first year in OHL, he's just going to keep developing. And Kevin, he is sure to be developed right, is going to be an absolute star for this team in the future. And he is now in his first year as a rookie, doing great things and looking exceptional on the ice. So, and it, you know, it just looks like he's going to be leaned on a little bit more. And I think that's the one thing too, he's going to get prepared for is he's going to be leaned on a little bit more now that with these trades happening, he's, you know, Sirzati gone, FEMA's gone. Like they're going to be leaning on the Lavois, the Castle. And now he's right in your top 6 to, you know, have some scoring going on. So Michaud too. So, and Michaud's proven I think Michaud has been, you know, kind of off topic here. Michaud's proven in the last couple of week of games that he's really taken this team by the horns when it comes to scoring, and he's looked really good this year.
And no, definitely, I like Michaud's game, especially the last couple weeks, like you mentioned, with the trades that have happened, the veterans that have been moved out, and they're going to be relying on Kevin He. You talk about his puck possession was something he's trying to work on, but I think it's just he's gotten so many chances just having that knack to just find the back of the net. I think Kevin He could, you know, have 15 goals right now if he could have just, you know, been able to
50.
hit, been able
50.
to
He
hit.
could have 5-0 right now if he would score all those chances.
Because he doesn't just get chances; he creates chances for himself with his speed.
It's
like
that speed, it's elite. He's coming into the OHL in his first year with already like top OHL speed. When he learns to put the puck in the net, he's going to be an elite player in this league. He'll be a top player in this league out of any team.
And was there any better value pick, I mean, in the first 2 rounds than Kevin He as a second-round pick? Because
exactly,
you look at what Malcolm Spence is doing right now with the Erie Otters. I mean, he was drafted 2nd overall, and realistically, I'd put Kevin He like right up there with him. And Kevin He was a 2nd-round pick, so just incredible value for the IceDogs to be able to get him where he was at. But yeah, it was great to get to know Kevin a little bit, and it's good that that he's still remaining humble, a very smart young man, and just can't say enough about his mentality and the great head on his shoulders that his parents have obviously instilled in him, and getting to go back home and enjoy Christmas with them. I'm sure that was big for him, and we'll look for a big second half of the season for Kevin He.
No, 100%.
So let's look at the upcoming week, Kyle. Obviously, the IceDogs are in last place in the Eastern Conference. It's not going to get any easier. Like I had asked head coach Ryan Kuwabara in the wrap up. They start off with the first place in the Ontario Hockey League, Ottawa 67s, first in the Eastern Conference, 26-6-0-1. They're 7-2-0-1 at the time of recording. Just complete juggernaut. They're the only home game for the IceDogs this week, starting 3-3. So again, they've got another 3 games and 3 nights: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Start off with Ottawa.
Schedule up next is huge for the IceDogs. I'm looking at this schedule, and between Friday, the 6th, and the 19th of January, they have 6 days off. That's it.
Well, because they have that reschedule. Because they have that reschedule with Sudbury right in the middle of the week.
So, like, they play 3 straight games, 2 days off, 1 game, 1 day off, 2 straight games, then 3 days off. Then they play the 18th, 19th, 21st, and 22nd. They have a lot of games coming up with very few practices in between.
I can tell what one of our next few episodes is going to be called the Dog Days of Winter. They're going to be running through the gauntlet the next month, and we'll really see where this team is after this stretch of games. But starting it off with Ottawa is not going to be easy. And then you're going on the road in 2 games in less than 24 hours against 2 divisional opponents in Barrie and North Bay, who you beat the last time you played them, so they'll both be looking for retribution. You've got Pasquale Zito playing against his old team in North Bay, who is really loading up there in second place. So they're literally playing first, second, and fourth place in the Eastern Conference this week.
And to put it in perspective, this is hilarious. But they all 3 of those teams almost have the same identical record in their last 10 games. Both Ottawa and North Bay are at 7-2-0-1 in their last 10, and Barrie's at 7-0-2-1. Barrie hasn't lost in regulation in their last 10 games.
Nice, eh?
So the Ice Dogs have the toughest 3 set of games back to back to back of the entire season coming up. And we don't even know if it's going to be this team now or is there going to be more new players, because who knows what's going to happen from now until then.
And we don't know if we'll have Zachary Lavoie either. If Zachary Lavoie gets suspended, there's one of your top line forwards. Yeah, it's
oof.
I'm interested to see how many points they'll come away with after these 3 games. Realistically,
I can't make a guess.
No, I can't either, because I don't even know what team's going to be on the ice. Like, I have no idea. Does Lavoie play? Does he not play? Are there more trades? Because the trade deadline's coming up. It'll have gone and passed since our next episode. If is Rodwin Denicio back in the lineup after he comes back from the World Juniors? Like, we have no idea what this team's going to look like in a couple of days when they take on Ottawa on Friday. It's going to be quite something to see. Lavoie's leading the team in points if already has just got here, but he's already leading the team in points. Castle and, like you mentioned, Daniel Michaud, they're tied with 20 points each. Michaud has got the 10-goal mark, and then you've got Declan Waddick as well. He's another player that has really stepped up when he's needed to. 10 goals and 15 points in 30 games. Basically, he's been playing bottom 6 minutes, so they're going to need those guys to really step up with the absences, as you mentioned. No more Zito, no more Femus, no more Sirzati. Like, some of these guys that are going to get opportunities, this is their time to step up and show what they have.
Exactly. Like, it's primarily going to be, leaned on with the Lavoie, Castle, Michaud, and you're looking at other guys, a secondary like Waddick, Dan, Copeland, right? Augustinelli to really step up their game, and they're going to be leaned on heavily too going into this next, I guess you can say, half of the season. So we'll see how Lavoie kind of takes more of a reign as well. He's looking really nice. Michael Podolou, who's just gotten here, 3 games, really haven't seen a lot out of him. Hopefully we get to see something out of him. And then we'll see what happens in the back end. That back end has changed so many times I lose count half the time. So we'll see what happens going forward in these next 3 set of games, because they're going to be really telling, and it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. I really have no other words to say, but it's going to be interesting.
Before we wrap up, we got to we haven't talked about him at all this show. Owen Flores has really taken the reins as the starting goaltender, it looks like, for this team, and he's really stood up when he's needed to, and he looks like just a stable presence back there, and he looks like he's really grown into that starting goalie that the Ice Dogs are hoping to rely upon since getting him from London.
Yeah, he's really settled into his own, I think, especially as of late. He's really settled. So I liked his game as of late as well. He's come up with some really big performances. Him having 2 goalies having really good seasons is not always a bad thing. So I've really, I think it's a good thing to bring that up and praise his game, because he's, as of late, has been really shown that he's kind of calmed down in a sense in that crease and really found his game. So shouts to him.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Kyle, before we wrap up.
Oh boy, it's gonna be an interesting week. This is gonna be an interesting weekend. So I think the boys can do it. I think we can at least, I'm gonna make a prediction. I want at least 2. I know it's bad, but I want at least 2 out of the 6 points. Yeah. I think they got at least win 1 game. It's gonna be tough. I'd love for them to win all 3 games. You know what? It would be sweet to dominate the top, 3 out of the top 4 teams in our conference right now. That'd be really cool, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, whether it'll happen or not, that's remained to be seen. But hopefully, we'll come back next week and talk about the Ice Dogs positives, and we'll see what kind of team is going to be there on the ice and around the Ontario Hockey League, because there's still trades going on all around the league with it being trade deadline week. So I'm sure we haven't seen the last of big moves here in the Ontario Hockey League for 2023. With that said, guys, speaking of 2023, thank you for listening to our first episode of 2023 for the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara Ice Dogs. Make sure you're hitting like, smash, and subscribe, smashing that bell for all updates on video versions of our podcast that get released here on the network. Make sure you're following us at Dog Pound Podcast and liking us on Facebook and Instagram at the Armchair GM Sports Network. And for Kyle Aikett, my name is Brandon Caputo. And until next time, bark, 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 go Dogs go. And talk to you guys again next week. You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.